so while we continue with the topic of technology, I would like to invite Dr. Anamika Singh, Director, SNDT University, Dr. Chandrani Singh, Director, Srinagar Institute of Management, and Dr. Manju Punya Chopra, Dean, Pune Business School, to come on to the dais for a quick fireside chat on the impact of EdTech revolution in Maharashtra education scenario. So let's go going on. So when you've heard to how technology is leading and helping in a lot of fields, especially when it comes to managing the admissions, the assessment, and the whole thing about imparting teaching, learning, and outcomes, and all of it. Something very specific to how it has impacted you.
So, I'm Dr. Chandrani Singh, and I really thank APAC News Network to have, invited me as a speaker. Apart from, technology in education, being from the Srinagar group and looking into the data center activities and IT strategy, we are trying to, integrate technology into the education with respect to the students' learning, the assessment, the admissions, and other support ancillary activities. So, but the main concern which I have is Maharashtra is at a stage where the technology, penetration across the primary and secondary schools have really, it is 60% of the primary and secondary schools of Maharashtra. You could say around, there are 1 lakh of primary schools and around 25,000 plus secondary schools, and 60% of that figure, so all the schools in Maharashtra are digital schools. So this is where someone was talking that we start from the roots. So Maharashtra has got a very promising future and is at par with the current technology infusion into the education segment, and that is a very promising picture we have. Even digital lay initiative for schools in Pune present a very motivating aspect to the other primary as well as the secondary education segment, and I think so progressive with respect to the progression, the infusion of technology into the education has been phenomenal in the state of Maharashtra. And higher education institutions we do not have to talk about, because the regular teaching, learning, assessments, then the admissions, and also the other examinations. So all of them are taken care by the technology. But then somewhere I find that with too much of, there is a lack in the research and development initiatives. So here we talk about NEP infusing within students the critical thinking ability, the problem solving ability, and all the aspects which can groom them to innovate and ideate more. That is what India is currently looking at, to have an economy which is very progressive and which is where innovation index is very high. So with technology coming into the education segment, and there being so many EdTech companies within Maharashtra taking up the responsibility to join hands with their affiliated colleges, the private universities, the public universities, I want that even the research development, because I'm passionate for research, I do not very much go by the contemporary mode of education, regular teaching and learning, regular assessments and all. So infusion of technology into the research and development segment, right from the primary and secondary stages till the tertiary stages, I am expecting that we would do quite quite well in the state of Maharashtra with the National Research Foundation Bill, which has recently been passed, and anticipating a very bright future ahead. Thank you so much.
Wow, okay. So it's about innovation and research.
Yeah, that actually makes a person a problem solver, a critical thinker, somebody who thinks out of the box. The companies are coming up with many propositions, many proposals, many innovations also. But then to motivate the individuals who use their services and excite them, motivate them, give them the responsibility to each and every citizen, every individual, every student, that you have some responsibility in this earth. And you have to carry that responsibility not in a traditional format, but in a contemporary or an innovative mode, and bring something new to the society. So that is how, if we can shift this responsibility to the majority of the stakeholders as public and private institutions and universities, and also the companies who can hold our hands, I think so we would be doing phenomenally well. And some people also talked about the political intervention. Yes, we have to be, that should not be there. There should be an inclusion of each and everybody's viewpoint, and their perspectives should be respected, to even into the making of a technology or into an app or into any of the services. That is my thought, and though it is very, very difficult, doesn't follow the conventions, but then I am aligned more to it. Thank you so much.
You brought about the aspect of design thinking to be implemented. Oh wow, okay. Which is anyway part of NEP,
Yes.
wherein design thinking at grade 4.
So, yeah, NEP says that every child is an individual. A child, if he fails, he should not be treated as a person who has failed or is a failure, because each and every trait of the child should be assessed. This was what the NEC policy makers told us in our symposium, that we have provided a very holistic aspect. It is for the stakeholders to adopt and adapt to, and it is not a strict guideline which has been that, and it is not enforced. You have to mutually adapt and adopt it. Thank you so much.
Oh wow, okay. So maybe we can have your thoughts on how technology is not only changing, but how it is actually helping every stakeholder into becoming a better learner, becoming a better educator, and probably look beyond in terms of innovation and research development and all of it. Your thoughts, please.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Namika Singh. I'm director at JDBIMSR and SMDT University. So, talking about impact of EdTech and technology on all the stakeholders. If I look at my experience while I was leading one of the institutions, I found that it is impacting each and every stakeholders, be it the instructor, the students, the learners, even the parents, and the people, those who are working in alignment with the institution for imparting the knowledge. So everyone was impacted by technology. When I look at the impact in particular, the technology has impacted the learners in such a way that they are finding that education has become very accessible. Not only accessible but affordable as well. So when we talk about democratization of education, if you see India, which is a diverse in terms of socio-economic stature, you'll find students at the remotest part of India, they also can access the education. Even in higher education, they can access any institution's education. When we talk about the instructors, now instructors can monetize their content. They have this benefit. If you talk about Khan Academy or Drishti or even the other EdTech platforms, instructors are there to monetize their content And that is how it is benefiting the educators. Now, when we talk about internationalization of education, we being the educators, we find our reach is not there to the international platform. Even if we find that we are having that standard. But by having this EdTech platform, we can reach to the global platform as well. So it is not only impacting the learners, it is impacting the educators and also the parents, what I said just now. We are reaching out to the parents even. And while I was leading one of the institution, I found all these stakeholders were participating in imparting the knowledge. They were into the process of redesigning, redefining and restructuring the entire education system, which was phenomenal. And I found that yes, it is impacting in a different way. When we talk about gross enrollment ratio, it is just 26% at this point in time. But we are envisaging that it is going to be 50% by 2030. How will it be possible? Only when these all EdTech companies come forward and help us in making the system so that we can reach to the remotest part of India. If you ask my experience, I have seen students from the remotest part of India during pandemic, they were able to reach to us. Just because we had these platforms and we had digitization of education. We could have proliferated and penetrated through internet. We had smartphones in the hands of each and every student. And that is how we could reach. So we could overcome the challenge during pandemic because of this digitization. And that is how I feel that the impact of this technology in the field of education is phenomenal. Thank you.
So it's the reach, the democratization of education across all stakeholders, which is a win-win situation for everyone who's involved. Right. So, and that would be the route which you are saying will be, which will help in achieving our GER gross
Up to 50% by 2030.
2030.
Right.
Oh yeah. So that's really a good thought. So now when we talk about the reach,
Just
yeah,
technology should be such ingrained within the education system that it should excite. It should create that excitement in our chief or the primary stakeholder, that is the student, and should keep the learning and the engagement level consistent and might be upward moving. Such should be the role of technology, and that can only come through innovation in the technology vertical. The next which I wanted to say is that nowadays, with the passing of the National Research Foundation bill, we have been reading through that statement, and there are concepts of virtual labs being shared. First of all, another point which I wanted to say was individual learning and collaborative learning. The two ways of learning are very different from each other. If there is a collaboration, there is a competition, a healthy one. If there is a collaboration, there is a motivation amongst the students. So, hence coming back, sharing not only our intellectual resources across or the learning resources collaboratively so that students can work on a collaborative mode, but also the hard infrastructure which the premier institutions have, and they are from this passage of where they have said that they will be sharing such hard and soft infra and also the learning resources, and make students and teachers from other institutions work with the premier institutions to come up with some phenomenal implementation of concepts and ideas. If this happens, and one thing I wanted to say, if this happens, that those institutions hold hands. I'm not saying that they are of a very high stature. We have equal potential, equal capabilities also. Our students also. But then if they aid us, they assist us, they support us in providing certain type of resources, collaborate with us, you would see that there is a drastic transformation and we would be progressing, economically progressing through the research. And that is my area, the research and innovation. Through research and innovation, that is what Modi has been, our Honorable Prime Minister has been talking of. Now transforming AI as America-India initiatives. If you have seen in the recent lecture of or the address of Modi, the session, and so each and every initiative has to be, the way we are doing, what can be done, and what newness or novelty can be brought, and each and every stakeholder being given the responsibility of building something new. The cumulative aspect would be, I think, so phenomenal, though it is not so very much achievable easily. Thank you so much.
Wow.
So, adding to what Madam has said just now about engagement of the students, if you see now, because of this internet and digitalization, if you see the attention span of the students have and is narrowing down, it is reducing.
Coming down, right?
Yeah, but then I found it in a different way. Gamification is the game changer. AR and VR, these are the things, or gamification in education has changed the entire scenario. It's a game changer, and people or students finding it very engaging. They love to learn. So if innovation is there in the education and we have all these with us, we have the resources, we are going to increase the attention span of students, and that is how it is going to benefit our learners as well.
That's a very good point. So while we are actually talking about all this, we have a partner presentation. We have Kunaldeep, Vice President of Global, who can actually talk about or maybe if it's a presentation, we will see. So he can actually talk about how all of this is being handled, and probably you may get little more ideas as to how little more insights as to how it can be implemented. So can we have the industry presentation?